Welcome all to another episode of Brews and Banter FC. I'm your co-host, Redbeard, joined by Targo. And do we have some football to catch up on, my friends? In today's episode, we look back at the exciting results of the Champions League round of 16.
Then we take a look at the Premier League, where the title race is starting to heat up, man. 3-horse race. All this plus so much more on an all-new episode of Brews and Banter that starts right now. So what are you drinking, man?
Okay. So, fun story. Just went into the fridge, looking around. We have a little hidden bottom shelf on the door of our fridge, and I just went in and I found this little thing here. It's Cascadian Outfitters Estate Bubbles from Columbia Valley. I guess this is a white wine blend, but it's sparkling white wine, but it has a fun Sasquatch holding a wine glass, so.
Interesting. I'm curious how you'll like this.
I've never had it before, so, and usually I don't like white wine at all.
Bubbly wine. I'm curious if it's going to be like a seltzer or more like wine.
It almost tastes like champagne, but with a very buttery white wine aftertaste. So I like the beginning. If I was to chug this would be great. But once I get to the aftertaste, it's a no-go for me.
It's a no-go? So we got to know, man. Out of 10.
Nah for me, dog. Nah, thumbs down.
It's a no for me. Well, let's see if mine's any better. Mine is...
I hope so, because that can is awesome.
It is Great Notion Hazy IPA. Ooh, spicy 7% this is out of Portland, Oregon. And so I was just looking at this can, which you can see there if you're on our YouTube.
Yeah, if you hold it right there, you can see it. The glare doesn't quite get to it.
Yeah, so there's like a cougar.
Washington State Cougars, Washington Huskies, is that the Oregon Beavers, the
Ducks,
Stanford Cardinal, and their mascot's a tree, and then the Cal Golden Bears.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I picked it up looking at the cougar, the Washington State Cougar. I was like, why is this cougar wearing a maroon jersey? And then I was like,
a number on its sleeve?
Yeah, it has a number. And then I looked at the husky that I thought was a wolf originally, and was like, oh, that one's wearing purple and also has a number.
I mean, as a dog, it's the closest thing you can get to a wolf. So
it is. You're not wrong. Well,
You're not really wrong either.
Let's see how this hazy IPA is. I have not had this before. That is pretty good. A little bit.
I would hope so. You spend that much on the branding on the can. It has to be good, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit hoppier up front, and then it kind of smooths out in the middle, and then the aftertaste is really good. Not too hoppy, more of that hazy flavor there. If that's a flavor, hazy, I don't know.
Citrus.
It's not a strong citrus though. It's super mild. So if you're not into that citrusy, fruity,
a little more floral,
hazy IPAs, this does not have that. So it'd be good for the people who like that. Would drink again. I'm gonna give this man a solid I'll give it a 8.
Okay.
I'm
gonna give mine
again
5.5. But if I'm really trying to get drunk, this is 13.1%.
Oh.
If I'm trying to get drunk, I will put this in a beer bong and chug it all day.
Or you shotgunning.
Either one. Yeah. So, and now a word from our sponsors.
Today's episode is brought to you by Acorn Hills Clothing Company. Sustainable clothing, biodegradable packaging, tree planted for every purchase, and a percentage of their sales donated to charities.
Yeah, and that's not even the best part. They give you these plantable clothing tags with every purchase. Pretty much greatest idea ever.
That is
scan
awesome.
The QR code right here for planting instructions. So make sure you go to www.acornhillsco.com and use Brews15. That is BREWS15 at checkout for 15% off and have your tree planted today.
Yes, don't forget to use our code Brews15 at checkout for 15% off. This is one you don't want to miss, guys. We had the Champions League round of 16, man.
Whew! Finally, it's back.
We're at the pointy end of the competition, the knockout stages. Let's just dive right into it. We had Copenhagen hosting Man City. Copenhagen lost 3-1.
Duh.
Yeah. Pretty
I will
much.
give Copenhagen credit, though. They played pretty well in that first half.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
The rest of the match, City destroyed them.
It's Man City. Good luck,
Yeah.
Copenhagen. We said this earlier, like, we're sorry. Feel bad.
Yeah.
A game that was a little closer, though. We had RB Leipzig hosting Real Madrid.
Yeah, and this one, you can really see how much Real Madrid misses Jude Bellingham when he's not on the pitch.
Yeah, you do.
Because they did not look efficient going forward. They didn't look very, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I guess threatening is a good one. On the attack. RB Leipzig did great on the counter. I thought at first look, they got robbed for the goal they scored. They got called offsides.
Oh, that one, yeah.
I thought, and then they showed the replay
half
from a different angle, and like he's clearly blocking the goalkeeper. So I was like, okay.
Whatever. Yeah, that was the call. He made a play, I guess, on the goalkeeper, and
so the goalie couldn't see nothing. I get it. So,
but I guess I got a question for you. Would the goalie have gotten there anyway?
No way in hell. But if he blocks the goalkeeper from seeing the ball, I understand why
he didn't stop him from seeing, because he was behind the goalkeeper and kind of prevented him from trying to get to the ball. Okay. Is what it was. But I don't think he would have got there anyway. I get by the letter of the law, yes, it's the correct call, but I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either.
I don't have to like it, because, I mean, we always want to see more goals. But, I mean, the goalie's not going to get there. Come on.
Well, yeah, and you think how, if they counted that, how much this would have turned that leg on its head.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so it would have put Leipzig up 1-0 at home against Real Madrid, who are struggling to threaten the goal. And now you go back to the Bernabeu, and they get Jude Bellingham back in the second leg. And by the way, I was looking at his stats for some weird reason, but he's only scored 2 goals less than Erling Haaland this season in all competitions. That's how crazy he is as a midfielder. We're talking about comparing him to one of the best strikers in the world, but someone who is consistently getting the best service in the world. And then Jude Bellingham at 20 years old. It's crazy.
Erling Haaland, that is, yeah.
Crazy.
But let's talk about Real Madrid's goal, because this was a golazo, man. Golazo from Brahim Diaz. Take a bow, dribbles.
Take a bow.
Going past one defender, 2 defender, 3 defender, 4. Curls it to that top corner. I mean, it was just...
I don't think I've ever seen him do that in his entire career. I know he has it in him. But because I've seen him, when he was on loan at AC Milan last season, we saw him dribble through.
Yeah, and he would score some goals, but not like that. I mean,
not like that. Oh, whew, chef's kiss.
Like that, it looked like he had Messi in him for a split second, dribbling past those players and curling it. The ghost of Messi was just right there for a second. I don't know. That was wild. We'll see if he can continue that form. I mean, he hasn't been doing terrible coming off the bench, putting in some performances, some goals here, assists there.
It's what Real Madrid needs, because you look at their starting lineup and their midfield gets all the attention, but they have no reinforcements up front. So to have him in form is fantastic for them.
Yes, it is. All right, moving on. We had PSG hosting Real Sociedad. This one ended 2-0 in favor of PSG.
I know, we were both rooting for Sociedad in this one.
I know, I was watching this game, man, and just they played so well the first half. It was 0-0.
They deserved to be in it after the first half, and then Kylian Mbappe said, "Hold my beer."
He did. He had his goal, and then Barcolo had his goal, which was a nice one, by the way.
It was, yeah. And he's also just a kid. I think he's 19 or 20.
Yeah, 19, 20, something like that. Yep. Yeah. But Sociedad, man, they're struggling for goals of late.
Mm-hmm. I think it was like 5 of their last 6 games were 0-0 draws.
I think I saw it was like 1,000 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
something ridiculous.
But we never know, right? They got Kubo back from the Asian Cup.
Well, he played in this
Um,
game. He didn't do
he
much.
did, but at home after a couple of games under his belt, getting back to the thick of things, I think it might be a completely different tie in Sociedad with them being able to just go all out trying to get the win.
They're gonna have
Or
to because they had scored
or
3
it'll be
goals.
the other way around and PSG will just literally destroy them on the counter. That'll be what it is.
It looks like our pick of Sociedad is gonna fall short on this one. I think, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I will still root for them, but
I will say, speaking of falling short,
oh.
Lazio and Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich has sucked so bad lately. Like,
oh my
so
goodness.
bad. Let's go on a Bayern Munich tangent here because
Yeah, let's do it.
So, we'll start with this game. They lost to Lazio in Rome. I mean, was it a shot on target they failed to get?
I think they had one, maybe.
One. It was just a terrible performance. Harry
was
Kane has some
awful,
terrible misses.
Upamecano.
Maguire showing up
Yeah.
with a red card in this one.
I think, honestly, it will help them in the second leg not having him.
Did you think it was a red card, though?
No,
I didn't either. I thought it was like, so it was one of those like, okay, that's a harsh red, but like, ooh, that's a stern yellow. Like, that's an orange card territory.
Yeah, I would have been like, give him a yellow and then berate him a little bit. Like, don't give him a red. Like, come on.
I mean, he steps on the guy's foot. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But it's not high. I mean, it's foot, maybe low ankle, I guess is what I'd classify it. But it wasn't red card worthy, I don't think. I don't know. That's just that's the defender in me.
Was it worse or I don't want to say better because that's not a good word for it, or less bad than Marcus Rashford's red?
I think it was less bad than Rashford's.
And we again didn't think that one was a red either. So if it was less bad than Rashford's, it's definitely not a red. Just saying.
And then news.
Holy crap!
News of Tuchel.
Yeah, stepping down at the end of the season. Is it the worst managerial move of all time to fire Nagelsmann and replace him with Tuchel? Whatever.
Too bad for him because he's gone.
I know. It's like Nagelsmann has a much better record just because he struggled for a little tiny bit. He still won the league, which Tuchel is probably not going to do at this point.
It doesn't. So
which brings me back
to
them getting absolutely annihilated by Bayer Leverkusen.
So yes, that game happened a couple weeks ago. First versus second, you're thinking, okay, Bayern Munich, this is your chance to make some ground.
At least you would think it would be close.
But look, what was going on with their lineup, dude? They spent how many million on Bowie, the right back from Galatasaray? Was it 20 or 30 million?
30, I think.
Hey, here's an idea. We're going to play him at left back when we have Rafael Guerrero. Because that makes total sense. I roll. I mean, why would they play a right back at left back when they have Guerrero?
I mean, you're better off playing Alphonso Davies over there.
Well, I think he's been out hurt.
He's been out injured.
But you still have Rafael Guerrero. I mean, he was a fantastic left back for Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, but in a completely different system.
Well, that system didn't work at all against Bayer Leverkusen. And then to compound it, they go lose to Bochum the next week. And they are now 8 points back of Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah. I saw this quote, and I absolutely loved it. It was, they brought Tuchel to Bayern, and Tuchel turned Bayern into Chelsea.
And then they bought Harry Kane to turn him into Spurs.
And then brought in Eric Dyer to make it even worse.
Oh my gosh. Is this Harry Kane curse like alive and well? Because it looks like it is, man.
At this point, with what we've seen, and them losing to Lazio in the first leg of the Champions League, it has to be, right? The only competition that they could possibly win right now with the way that Bayer Leverkusen are playing is the Champions League.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to get knocked out of that, if not this round, the next round, because of the way they're playing right now.
They're playing terrible right now. I mean,
awful.
Their
Like, this is
defense.
worse. This is worse than what right before Nagelsmann got fired.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, their
So much.
defense, Kim and Jay, is he like one of the worst signings of the season? The guy looks like a shadow of his former self.
I think a lot of it is there's a language barrier there. There has to be. Because we saw how good he was. I mean, I get it, right? Victor Osimhen hasn't reached the heights he did this season. But at the same time, it's like if you can do that consistently for a season, we know the skill is there. There has to be another issue there.
So is it a Tuchel?
Could very well be. It could be both, for that matter. I think there's something there fundamentally. It's not him as a player. I think it's either communication or the system or both.
Or is it their midfield with Kimmich, Goretzka in there?
Yeah, we saw the reaction from Kimmich when he got subbed off.
Yes.
I think there's definitely a fire there between Tuchel and Kimmich. I mean, he was the linchpin for Nagelsmann. Tuchel's pretty much created him as an afterthought. I don't understand why. He's one of the best midfielders in the world.
This Bayern Munich team, do you think they'll be able to turn it around against Lazio?
I think they should. Will they? I think with Lazio's form this season, I'd probably say yeah. But like barely.
I'm going to say they do. I'm going to say they turn it around at the Allianz and make it through to the quarterfinals.
I think so too. But
speaking of another German team, they went to Eindhoven to play PSV, where they drew 1-1. This was one of my low-key games I watched. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this one over the other one.
This was my low-key game to watch.
Yeah.
It was. And I will say, I did not expect Dortmund to bully around PSV the way they did. But at the same time, I didn't expect PSV to miss so many clear-cut chances by like such a wide margin. Like, you have the goal, and then you have the 10 yards outside of the goal in all directions, and that's about where they were shooting the whole match. I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah, I noticed that, like, especially because, I was paying close attention to Bakayoko, youngster on the wing. And it's like he would do everything right, dribble-wise, create the opportunity, and then his shot would just be absolute garbage, man. It was just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
I'm not creating excuses for him, but I did hear that he just recovered from the flu, and he didn't actually expect him to start, but he did. I'm not creating excuses. As a player that young and that good, you should still be able to hit the target.
When he does the dribbling part well, but then can't shoot, like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
And that's not the flu.
But speaking of wingers, Daniel Malen, man.
Is he a winger? He's more of a forward at this point, man.
He played on the wing for PSV when he played there before going to Dortmund, but he looked inspired in this match against his former side, getting their only goal.
Guy was taking shots from everywhere.
And they were quality shots, too.
45 yards out, whatever. Have a hit.
Who cares? Yeah, whatever. But yeah, it was fascinating to watch this match, man. And Schlotterbach getting a yellow to miss the next leg, I think is going to be a huge miss.
You think so?
Yeah. And then how about that penalty call, though? How bad was that?
That was not a penalty, man. That was not a penalty.
Notice how I didn't ask you if it was a penalty. I just asked how bad was that call.
That was a bad one. With VAR, how do you see that? He gets the ball.
How do you not see that, or how do you miss that? I don't understand.
I do feel like Jamie Carragher gave a good explanation of it on the after, the analysis part of it there on the Champions League show. Like, what's the defender supposed to do? He makes a slide tackle. He can't stop sliding. And so, yes, the player runs into him, but after he got the ball, I mean, come on.
Yeah, 100%.
And then, there's those tackles where, okay, you get the ball, but you go through the player type of situation. This one, he got the ball and then went into the player. So he got the ball first before the player.
Yeah.
Bad call. I didn't like it.
Bad call. But what do you guys think? Let us know on our socials. Brews FC on Instagram, our Facebook group, our YouTube channel. Let us know down below. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, hit that notification bell. And then let us know on our TikTok, Brews Banter FC. On there.
We're all over the place, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Mentally and physically.
There you go. Let's move on to honestly, I thought this was probably one of the biggest games of this round.
I would say biggest,
The
yes.
two biggest teams facing off, I would say, it was Inter
Yeah.
hosting Atletico Madrid, ended 1-0 in favor of Inter. How good
This
is
game was so much more wide open than I thought it would be. I thought
it?
this would be a defensive chess match, and the ball, it's like a basketball game. It's back and forth the whole game. I will say
Yeah.
Inter did dominate a little bit more, but they deserve their win, I will say.
So this is one I had to watch the highlights of, and I expected the highlights to honestly be like 2 minutes long, where
Mm-hmm.
a minute of it is just showing
It was
yellow
like
cards to
18
players.
minutes, I think. Yeah.
But yes, it was much more open than I thought, and the highlights showed Marcus Thuram, man, looks like a stud for
Yeah.
free. Inter got him
For
for
free.
free.
For free.
He looks
What a
good.
signing.
And then the
Marco
goal scorer.
Arnautovic.
The goal
Yeah.
scorer, Marco
Turning
Arnautovic,
back the years.
came on
But
for
I
the
will,
injured Marcus Thuram at halftime.
and I will put an asterisk next to him turning back the years because he did miss quite a few
He
sitters
missed
in this one.
terrible ones too.
But he at least put one away.
He got one.
And then speaking of Inter forwards, man, is Lautaro Martinez the most complete forward in the world right now?
No.
Like offense and defense. I'm not saying just finishing and like all the aspects of a forward. I'm saying all around game.
No.
Because watching him play defense in this match, he's better than most forwards I've seen play defense.
So I also have. He's one of those players, man, that for some reason I want to like, but I don't.
But you can't.
I don't like Lautaro Martinez, man. I've seen him be so terrible in so many situations. Like, don't get me wrong, he's played well. Like, he's playing well right now. The last
got,
time Inter
over
won
20
the
goals
Scudetto,
already? Yeah.
the last time Inter won the Scudetto, he was fantastic when he had Lukaku as his partner. But I feel like he's almost like Marcus Rashford, where he has his high highs and then he has his lows. Like he's a roller coaster, man. And
I think I would compare him more to Victor Osimhen than Marcus Rashford, because Osimhen goes on like tears of goals, right? A little bit more consistent though than Lautaro Martinez, but Marcus Rashford, you look at his stats this season. I mean, Lautaro Martinez in a bad year has over 20 goals. Rashford in a bad year has less than 10.
You think Lautaro Martinez on his bad year has 20 goals?
Yeah, he's got over 20 goals right now.
Well, I don't get me wrong, because he's having a good year for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess you're not wrong. I mean, his worst year was 2018-19. He scored 6 in 27 appearances in Serie A. And he's kind of consistently gone up. So like in 2019-20, he scored 14 goals in 35 appearances. 17 goals the year after that, and then 21, and now he's at 20. So don't get me wrong, yes, this year he has been. I guess you know who I would kind of compare him to is Lacazette.
Okay.
Lacazette would kind of hover about that 20 goals in all competitions situation. But not one of the. I wouldn't say he was one of the best strikers in his league.
No.
But
I mean, Lacazette too. I understand that, right? Lacazette was a great defender as well.
I'm going to contradict myself though, because I do think Lautaro Martinez is one of the best strikers in Serie A. Yes. I mean, he is. I mean, his numbers show that. I can't argue with that. But I guess as a player, especially when he plays for Argentina, I think that's where I don't like him, when he plays for Argentina.
Yeah. It's a different system. He misses a lot of sitters. He's not very good. I understand. That's why Julian Alvarez will probably start over him in the next World Cup. But, whatever.
Why he started over him in the final. Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's move on to a game that broke our hearts. It was Porto hosting Arsenal. Porto won 1-0. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm going to go positives and not about Arsenal.
Okay. About the player you picked, your favorite player?
The player I picked, who has the most goal contributions in the Champions League right now, in Galeno. He's going to get a big move this summer. There's no way he's staying at Porto, because this man is electrifying. Although I will say there were parts of this match where he disappeared. But I think that was more because the way Arsenal were playing and not because of the way that Porto were playing.
Pretty much the entire second half. He disappeared.
Yeah, he did until he hit a golazo at the end.
94th minute.
94th minute, pretty much the last kick of the game.
There was like 20 seconds left in the game.
Out of nowhere, he's like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just going to hit this, and hits a banger into the far corner. Like, okay. But yeah, that's 5 goals in the Champions League for him. He's got 4 assists, 9 goal contributions, most in the Champions League right now. And then we get to Arsenal. I had to start with something positive before I got into everything negative, right?
There we go. Okay, give me the negative. Give me the negative.
Well, you remember that spell in December, right around Christmas, where Arsenal looked sluggish, poor, couldn't really score. Well, in this game, not only that, they didn't get a single shot on target. For a team that had 73% possession.
Oh yeah,
that
they dominated.
Blows my mind. So they were so bad going forward.
I know I'm wearing the Arsenal jersey, but I'll say I did not watch this game. I was watching the other one, the Napoli-Barcelona. But I can tell you how this game went. I've just, without even having to watch anything.
As an Arsenal fan, I've seen this 100,000 times.
100,000 times. They have possession, and they're just hovering right there outside the 18, but not really creating anything. And then, oh wait, the team gets a counterattack, and they almost concede
scores at the death, and they lose. Why? Weird. Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
I will say, though, as much as Arsenal played badly, they did not deserve to win anything from this match. I'm going to say that before I finish this statement. Okay. I have not seen a ref call a game like this in a long time as I watched this whole entire travesty of a match for Arsenal.
What did the ref do, man?
Not a single player were really allowed to touch each other. It's like literally they touched each other except for on set plays on corners where it was like how many people are going to end up on the ground before
I did see that at the corner kicks, man. Like Ben White was just getting wrestled in there, and he's wrestling the guy who's marking
Arsenal. I think Arsenal had 10 or 11 corners in the match, and at least 3 people were on the floor every single time. But during play, if anyone touched anyone, like hand on the shoulder, on the back, a little bit physical, ref immediately called for a foul. I haven't seen any football match called like this in a long time. I'm not saying this is why Arsenal lost, because it's not. They lost because of themselves and how poorly they played, and a little bit of brilliance from Porto. But still, this is full-grown men. Full-grown men. They should be able to be a little physical with each other. Just saying.
How do you feel about David Raya's positioning on that goal?
I think he jumped too early, and he was a little too far out of his goal. Yes.
I think he was a little too far out, yes.
I think the jumping a little too early was the biggest part because he was on his way down when the ball went over his hand. So,
well, do you think they'll turn it around at the Emirates?
I do. It's the Emirates. No matter how much pressure you have, it's a fortress. Porto has to travel. It's a long ways. And it's the Emirates. I think probably 3-0 Arsenal in the second leg.
Okay, let's hope so, man.
Yeah.
All right. Napoli hosted Barcelona. And you said this, you were going to flip a coin? Flip a coin?
Well, it landed on its side, so.
This one ended 1-1, yeah.
I know you watched the whole match, but I will add that Barca looked the better team by far.
They did. They did look the better team.
70 minutes-ish till Osimhen got his goal out of nothing, and then after that, it was back and forth. But Barcelona looked the better side.
But how about this midfield lineup? Andreas Christensen at the base of the midfield for Barcelona, man. You never know what this Barcelona midfield is going to look like.
I don't even remember who is on their bench at this point because they have signed so many players, and I don't know who is going to be in the squad and not in the squad. But half of them are awful and half of them are good. So I don't want to be Gattuso again, but sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
They started out with Rafinha was on the bench, João Felix was on the bench. I mean, start Andreas Christensen as your defensive midfielder when you got Romeu sitting on your bench.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a no-brainer to me, just to start Christensen over Romeu.
But it's weird. You don't know what you're going to get with this Barcelona team.
You don't.
I mean, the two prolific strikers, they get their goal. Lewandowski, as you mentioned, Victor Osimhen. And yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes in the second leg. I do think Barca will edge them just watching this game.
Yeah, it'll be Barca at home as well, which will make this match completely different, right?
Yeah.
Napoli this season in Serie A have not been good away from home.
They've not been good at all in Serie A.
I mean, yes, but they've been much worse away from home. And a Barcelona side that's generally very good at home. I think Barcelona probably will edge this one. And I do think a little bit has to do with Napoli firing Walter Mazzari before this match, 48 hours before this match to be precise, and then hiring Slovakia boss Francesco Calzona and having him have one practice with the squad before the match. And he also changed formation and tactics. So, yeah, it's their third manager this season.
Not terrible to get a draw, though, against Barca.
No, actually, it's pretty damn good, especially with one practice under your belt. But we'll see. I mean, you got a couple weeks before this second tie happens. Yes. So
they are missing Luciano Spalletti. That's all I can say.
They are. But I do have a question for you.
Okay.
In lieu of them hiring their third manager this season, is Napoli a bigger mess than Barcelona this season? As both teams did win their titles last season.
Oh, so here's, I guess what I'll say. I will say Napoli are much further off this season than they were last season than Barca are. Just, I mean, you can see them in Serie A. They're not doing well. They're, I don't even know what place. I have to pull up what place they're in.
Yeah, I think last time I saw they were in what, 5th, 7th, somewhere in there. Not good. Anyways.
Not good. They're not doing good in Serie A. Barca, Barca are in a Champions League place. I think it's the hardest, like we said before in a previous episode. You guys should check out on our YouTube, socials, blah, blah, blah. It's the hardest job to manage, Barcelona. You are expected to play a certain way. You're expected to win trophies. They won 2 last year. And so I think it's Napoli are worse off, man.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I don't have anything else to say about it.
That tangent just to get to Napoli are worse off.
Okay. All right, let's switch gears and head to the Premier League where we have a lot to catch up on because a lot has happened.
Yes.
So we're just going to go with the good, the bad, the ugly, the dog shit, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up with the ugly, a.k.a. the dog shit.
We're crawling out of the dog shit.
Let's start with the black and white striped Newcastle.
Ugh.
Oh, man. How are they this bad?
They're not good. I mean, they're in 8th place. 8th. They were in 4th last season.
Yeah.
Finishing a Champions League spot. They're not playing the best. The injuries, blah, blah, blah. They've had their injuries. Everyone has injuries. But I mean, their last few games, man. Drew to Bournemouth. Beat Forest. Good job. Drew to Luton. And then it was that big win over at Aston Villa. But they're not playing
Arsenal
the best.
Coming up this weekend.
And they have Arsenal coming up this weekend where they go to the Emirates. So
yeah. Which is, statistically, it's not been a good place for them to play. So
no, they'll be lucky probably to get a draw, I think, at the Emirates. But yeah, man, they just are not as good as they were.
They've let in 3 times more goals than they did the entirety of last season.
Is that real? You're saying that's real?
It might be double, but it's a lot more than last season. They have 41 goals conceded this season. I don't remember last season.
They had 33 last season.
Okay. Well, still, I mean, that's 8 more than they did the entirety of last season with 13 games left to go.
At the rate they're going, they might be there.
Yeah. And I mean, they have 10 losses, which is a lot more than they had last season as well. So, But
10 losses, to last year they had 5.
Yeah, and I mean, credit to Eddie Howe, right? When he took over, they were in the relegation scrap. He brought them all the way up into 4th place. Now they're almost a mid-table team. I would say a little bit better than a mid-table team, just not showing it. But is he at Newcastle next season with the way they're going?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with, what's out there versus what they have, right? If the right opportunity comes around, maybe they feel like it's time. But I don't know. With the new financial calendar coming around, and Newcastle can spend a lot more money. I will say that. We'll see. What do you guys think? Let us know on our socials.
Yeah, this one will be an interesting one. Again, I guess if you want to look at it as the long view, I mean, they're still up. Like you said, when he took over, they were in 18th place. They're now sitting in 8th. And so they're still on the up, still in the top half of the table. So that's still a positive. But compared to last year, that's what we got to look at. Compared to last year, man, they're not doing
Compared to
well.
last year. All right. West Ham United.
Are terrible right now, man. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They haven't won a game, and I don't even know how long. Let me see. When was the last time
I
West
don't
Ham
know.
won a game?
December?
It was
December.
December. It was the end of December.
Was that the game after the Arsenal match? Or the Arsenal match?
It was the Arsenal match.
Holy shit, they suck.
They do.
I mean, yes, I understand last season they were fighting on 2 fronts. They did win a European competition, but they were struggling with relegation. I think with the squad they have, they should not be a mid-table team. I will say that.
The only saving grace is they did well at the beginning of the season, because now they're in 9th. But at one point they were up to 6th, 5th, flirting around there, and then they just. But these West Ham fans, man, it is apparent at these games when they're not doing well that they do not like David Moyes. Could he be in the hot seat?
I don't understand why. Without him, they would be nowhere. They would have no trophies. They would not have half the signings they do. Why are you so upset with David Moyes? It's like United fans being upset with David Moyes when he did better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't understand it. I understand you're Manchester United, but this is West Ham we're talking about. Not Manchester United, West Ham United.
You thankful for what you got?
He won you a European trophy last season. When was the last time you guys won a trophy before that? Let alone a European trophy.
And you think of the players he's brought in. I mean, James Ward-Prowse, Mohamed Kudus, Lucas Paqueta.
See the form he's got out of Jared Bowen?
Yeah, Jared Bowen's been flying high.
I'm just saying. You got Alvarez as well in the midfield.
Unwarranted hate, I feel like, for David Moyes.
Hate.
Unwarranted.
Yeah. Cut it out. Relax, West Ham fans. Speaking of hate towards coaches, Crystal Palace.
He gone.
They're so bad. Roy Hodgson stepped down.
Today.
The guy who is Mr. Crystal,
as of this
Crystal
recording,
Palace,
yes.
He stepped down to be replaced by Oliver Glasner, who apparently, I forget who he used to coach, but did win a European trophy with them. I don't remember who it was, but I mean, this team has 2 of the most exciting youngsters in all of Europe. One solid defender in Margehi, but the rest of the squad is shite.
It's straight up Garbo, man. I mean, they got 1 win in their last 5. They can't beat Everton. Their last win was against, guess who?
United?
Sheffield United, yes.
That wasn't the one I was guessing, but
know.
I'll take it.
You're welcome. Bottom of the league, Sheffield United. That was their last win.
I don't know what's going on with Crystal Palace, man. I will say I understand Elise and Eze haven't been able to be healthy at the same time for the entire season.
Like 1 game.
Yeah.
And that was the game against Sheffield.
Weird. And they were the ones that scored and assisted all the goals. So
they did. You're not wrong.
But yeah, I don't understand what is going on there. Yes, it's Roy Hodgson. There's a lot of sentimental value there for Crystal Palace fans, but like, come on.
But they're on a slide, man. They're in 15th place, 25 points. They're 5 points above the relegation.
And the teams below them are quickly catching up. Quickly. Speaking of relegation, to end our dog shit teams, we have Burnley and Sheffield United.
Who are garbage, man.
I
They're
mean,
so
the
bad.
way that Burnley played against Arsenal
It was
is the best
laughable.
way to describe it. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to describe it.
It looked like men against boys. I mean, they were so bad.
I feel bad for Craig Bellamy, who had to take over for Vincent Kompany in that match.
Oh, against Brighton.
He took over against Arsenal too.
No, that was Burnley. Or he's at Burnley. You're right. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt bad for him too.
I felt bad for him.
So Vincent Kompany, man, should he leave? Should he go or should he stay? I guess that's the question.
Okay, so for me personally, I think he should go. But I think I'm going to make a prediction right now. I think Burnley stick with him and they'll go down and then he will get them back up because he's been proven to do it and very, very well. So I think ultimately that's what's going to happen.
So I think he should stay because of what you just said. I think he should stay. I think they'll go down. And I think he brings them back up. And then these players have that. Hopefully he can keep these players that he has. They have this experience. And then they can hopefully stay in the Premier League if you're a Burnley fan. But if they go down and then they stay down, get them out.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the other team, Sheffield United. I mean, they're at least not the worst team in the Premier League. So that's
ever
something.
In Premier League history.
Yeah.
Congrats. You don't have that. You have more points than Derby County did.
At 11.
Yep.
Not much more, but, you know, they did pass that bar, which we doubted for a long time.
We did doubt that for a minute there.
And I'm going to say, you know, other than their entire squad, which looks entirely negative, I will say their new signing, not signings, because we haven't seen their other one because they got hurt 50 minutes into their game, which was at Grubich or whatever that is, their new goalie from Atletico Madrid.
Oh, yeah.
But Barrington Diaz, he looks like a stud. So, you know, maybe his goals are what gets them above Burnley, but I don't think they're going to get any higher than that. Otherwise, the rest of the team is just, I'm sorry, you guys, garbage. Gabbage.
Speaking of garbage, did you see that Mason Holgate tackle on Gato Matoma?
Yeah,
Is there ever a more obvious red card?
No.
Maybe Zidane's in the World Cup where he headbutts Materazzi.
Okay. Yeah, you got me on that one.
Maybe that one.
I mean, I would struggle to find one that's more obvious.
It was so bad.
Those two.
So bad.
Yeah, it was awful.
All right, let's move. We'll make this list quickly. These are the meh teams. Sometimes they may be good. Sometimes they may be shit. You never know. Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean, they were great for a lot of the beginning of the season, and lately they've been a little shit.
They have been a little shit lately, yeah.
And drawn 3, lost 2 in their last 5. Not very good.
They're on their more shit end.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Yeah, well, it's Chelsea.
Played fantastic against Man City. Probably the best I've seen them play. And then
they're still in 10th. Still in 10th.
Then they lose to Wolves right before that. So, I mean,
right?
You never know. I feel like if Pochettino could get his players to perform like they did against Man City, they could be potential title contenders. Disasi played fantastic that game. Malagusto looked fantastic.
Woo. Yeah, I've never seen anyone shut down Jeremy Doku like that. That was fantastic.
Bro, Jeremy Doku's parents are calling the police. They cannot find him. He is lost inside Malagusto's pocket right now. He's a missing persons alert out there for him.
Find him on the back of a milk jug. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, you can't expect anything more than a hodgepodge team of youngsters put together. I mean, and I'll be honest, Enzo Fernandez. I mean,
He
before
actually
the
looked
World Cup,
good.
did you see him play?
No,
No, it's because he only played like 16 games for Benfica in his entire career before going to Chelsea. So
he looked
yeah,
good in that Man City game, but again, they play well in that game. Then before that, they lose to
sometimes
Spurs.
maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
That's this group, man. Then we have
Yeah,
Everton,
yeah, I
who
know. They've only lost one in their last five, but the other four have been draws.
and they have, as of this recording, moved out of the relegation zone into 17th, and
Yep.
Luton dropped in after their Luton's lost to Liverpool today, where they lost 4-1.
As of this recording, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Everton does have the benefit of a 10 goal advantage in goal differential. They're not very good right now, but at least they're getting points in a battle where every point matters. So that's
Yes.
why they get in the meh category.
Meh.
Let's move on to the good. All right. And a team that, for most of this season, I probably would have not put them in this category. But since the turn of the year, Manchester United have been on absolute fire.
You know what it is? It's Rasmus. Scoring some goals, man.
I know him and Bukayo Saka, 6 goals since the turn of the year, 6 goals, 5 matches. Something to be said about that. He's actually getting service now, though.
And so United, I will say they haven't been, I feel like, playing very well. If I'm going to be honest, I expect Manchester United to play good football. Hasn't been the best. I mean, against Luton, they were probably not the best team. Luton probably deserved a draw, but they got to win.
Yep.
I mean, these 2-1 wins over Luton, over Man United, or over Aston Villa, that 4-3 over Wolves, and then they did beat West Ham resoundingly because, again, West Ham
Mm-hmm.
are in our shit list.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting results. And
not only that, they have a positive goal difference for the first time ever since beating Wolves in the first game of the season.
that's great. I'm glad you found that stat. And we'll chat about Ten Hag. I mean, he's obviously just deployed this team. They're a counterattacking team. There's some new appointments coming into Manchester United by Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
And we'll save that.
We will save
Give
all
them
that.
some time. Give them some time. But it's looking promising.
Yes, they're picking up some people from Newcastle, from Man City. So we'll see how it goes.
Yes.
But how about some of these youngsters, man, for Manchester United?
I know. We talked about Hoyland. Awesome. But what about Garnacho?
Kobe Mainu.
I was going to leave him for last, but
Oh,
we talked about both of them.
I
Kobe
love
Mainu may
there's
be one of my
both.
favorite players to watch in the Premier League right now. He is so fun to watch. He's great defensively. He's nutmegging people like it's going out of style. I absolutely love it. Some of the goals he scored recently. He looks like a man reborn, and he's still a kid.
He's just a man born, man. He's not reborn. He's born right now. There's no
He's
reborn.
turned into a man.
And then what's crazy is Ten Hag obviously trusts him more than Casemiro.
Yeah.
Casemiro against Luton gets a yellow card in the first half. He pulls him off. Mainu, who has a yellow card, you stay on, boy. You stay on.
Well, the crazy thing is, too, is Casemiro's even said how promising of a future that Kobe Mainu has because of how good he is right now.
Yes.
So that shows you that it's not unwarranted that Ten Hag has faith in him, but it's more of, I think even Casemiro believes he's better than him right now.
So good to see if you're a Man United fan. We're going to go through these next ones quickly. Brighton, they're a pretty good team. They win, they lose, they draw, they win, they lose. I mean, consistency is their biggest issue, but man, do they play some lovely football, and they just demolished Sheffield.
They did. And we got Wolves. Hot damn, Gary O'Neill. You're on fire right now.
Hot damn.
Pedro Neto, healthy. They look lethal on the counter, and Huang Hee-chan coming back from the Asian Cup. Cunha starting to finish. Lamina on fire, and João Gomez starting to get some goals.
Oh, scored a couple.
Good. Yeah, they're looking good. And I'll let you take your favorite team in the
Luton, man.
right now.
Luton. I feel like they outplayed Man United. I will say Man United
yeah.
probably should have had a goal or two more, if not for Sambi Lakonga with an amazing block to deny Bruno Fernandes. But, oh, man, Ross Barkley, this team. I love the way they play. Contrast to the other teams that came up in Burnley and Sheffield. Luton are a threat.
Yeah. Every
You
time they get the ball.
you think of the top teams that have gone to Kenilworth Road, the Arsenals, the Man Cities, the Uniteds, they look dangerous. They are not getting blown out of the water from these teams. They are in these games. They're in the relegation. They moved down into it after their loss at Anfield. I'm hoping they can start to turn around here a little bit, get a couple results. It doesn't get much easier for them as they have Man City in the FA Cup and then they host Aston Villa. But then they play Palace, Bournemouth, Forest. So those could be some potential points there for them.
Big games for them. Big games for them.
Let's move on to the 4th place spot.
Yeah, let's do that. So currently we got Aston Villa 49 points in 4th, Tottenham in 5th with 47, and United 44 points in 6th. Can Villa keep that spot, although they are looking like they can slip up?
It does look like they could. It does.
They've been very inconsistent of late. Pretty much win, loss with the draw sprinkled in there. Tottenham, they keep flip-flopping with Villa. I know they do play March 10th, which is coming up right around the corner.
Ooh, that'll be a good one.
Yes. But it's also Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs being Spursy.
That tends to happen.
You never know what could happen. And then the final question I have for you on this 4th place spot. Could Manchester United actually pull it off?
The form they're in right now, yes, I think they could.
I mean, they picked up Lord knows how many points on the rest of on Tottenham and Aston Villa with their recent results. So I don't see why not.
Let's put it this way. I mean, remember when everyone was praising Tottenham? Oh, their fast start that they got off to and all this. They're only 3 points above United.
Yeah. There was a certain someone, too, that was saying, wait till they get a couple injuries and we might see what they're really made of.
Who, us? You?
I don't know. I don't know when this publishes which side you're going to be on, so.
Someone said that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying, it's Spurs. Give them time.
All
right. Now that we've gone through 4th, 5th, and 6th, let's get to the title race. Because it's on, baby. It's on.
It's on. Liverpool. Scaring attack, man. Most goals for. I mean, they got 63 goals for.
Yeah. To Arsenal and City's 58. I know they have a game in hand. They scored 4 on Luton, but that's going to make a big difference come the end of the season.
Yes. I mean, they got Nunez scoring some fantastic goals. Scored a beautiful chip here. I don't know how he pulled that off. I mean, honest with you, it's like he took the most difficult route to score that goal, and
I mean, the man misses sitters and makes fantastic goals. That's all. That's all he does.
Yes. They got Salah and Endo back from Asia and Africa Cups. They haven't skipped a beat. They do have a couple injuries. Diego Jota, Trent, Curtis Jones. So, I mean, there's a few others.
But I'm just saying they're this good without them.
Yeah.
Imagine when they all come back.
Because we have the rise of some of their youngsters. Connor Bradley, Gerald Kwanzaa. And defense.
I mean, I'm just going to put in a quick note about Connor Bradley. I mean, the way he's playing when he's healthy, I don't know how Trent gets back into the defense. You have to put him in midfield.
It's a tough one, right? That is a tough one.
And then you got Harvey Elliott, man. He's an Energizer bunny. He's fucking everywhere. I don't understand it.
And I feel like you got to give Liverpool almost the edge for this title race because they're in the Europa League. And Klopp, I'm guessing he'll say F it, throw all the youngsters in Europa League, and concentrate on the Prem. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're onto something, especially since their last game of the season, which is Jurgen Klopp's final game for Liverpool, is at home against Wolves. So as long as they're in contention to win, I mean, it's theirs to lose at this point.
It is.
They're in first. They just have to slip up. But if they can get to that match with Wolves, I don't think Wolves stand any chance in that match at all. Because you're going to have a raucous Anfield, Klopp's last game.
Oh,
it's gonna be emotional. There's no way. But they're still fighting on all fronts. I mean, they got the Carabao Cup this weekend.
The final, yeah, against
They
Chelsea.
have they have the FA Cup still. They're still fighting in the Europa League. It's a lot of games to play in a little amount of time. I think with the injuries piling up, if it keeps happening and they don't get healthy, it could catch up to them. You'd see some tired legs. They'll drop some points where they shouldn't. But all they have to play right now for the rest of the season is Tottenham, Manchester City, and Man United at Old Trafford. That's pretty much it.
As their
The
tough
big
games.
as their tough games. As where Arsenal has the toughest schedule because they still have to play City at the Etihad. They got to play Tottenham at London Stadium, Villa, Brighton, Man United, Newcastle, Chelsea, Wolves. They still have all these teams to play, whereas Liverpool does not. So it should be very interesting. We'll see. I think this weekend we'll see a little bit of how Klopp's going to do things. I know it is a Carabao Cup, so it doesn't really mean a lot, but I think he'll try to do something as far as resting some players.
All right.
All right, let's get on. Let's get on to Arsenal, who are on fire since the new year. I mean, they got 5 wins, perfect with 21 goals scored, best defense in the league, only 2 against in those 5 games, which, by the way, is the most all time for an opening 5 games of calendar year. You have players finding form, scoring goals. I mean, they put Trossard up front. All of a sudden, the interchangeable front 3, and it works like magic. Martinelli, Saka with 6 in 5. Odegaard on fire, and dare I say Kai Havertz?
Doesn't look like a passenger for once. Actually contributing.
No.
Doing
And the
something.
way Arteta is using him, it looks like an absolute masterclass of usage for him.
Yes.
And then don't sleep on Jakub Kiwior at left back either, as he's deputized for Zinchenko. I don't know how Zinchenko gets back into this squad once Jurrien Timber gets healthy with either Kiwior or him on the outside on left. And then Jorginho as a deep playmaker in big matches against the way he worked against Liverpool. Whew.
That 3-1 win.
Working
Yeah,
wonders.
man. Huge
Yeah.
win against Liverpool at the Emirates.
And then they're blowing teams out of the water. I mean, I said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. I was a little skeptical earlier, but I really think it is something now that Arteta made them play slower in the first half of the season to reserve their stamina for the end. Because once they went to Dubai for their midseason break, they are looking like a whole new team. Looking like that attacking team we saw last season. Massive uptick in chances created in their last 10 matches. David Raya is looking like a springboard for counterattacks. When he gets the ball, he's always looking to go
He does.
all the way forward.
He's definitely getting almost some the assists before the assists there.
Yeah, he really is. And then when they played Liverpool, they made Liverpool. This is the Liverpool that is leading the league and has for a lot of the season look bang average. They gifted them a goal. They felt bad.
Gabrielle, I feel bad for you, Liverpool. Here, let me put up my own net.
I'm just saying. So, Arsenal has a chance. I predict them to do it. I'm going to stick with it. But it is Liverpool's to lose.
We'll see. This Porto performance is definitely...
Well, you say Jurgen Klopp's trying to save people. The way they played, it was like the Arsenal of the first half of the season.
But it was still that same lineup. Arteta put up the same lineup that he's been playing here the past few games. But they came up short. We'll see how they do against Newcastle at the weekend, because that'll be a big game. But let's move on to Man City, man, who are actually playing catch up with the rest of the league.
I know. It's crazy.
What's scary, though, is they have their whole team fit, and KDB, Erling Haaland,
he looks better than I've ever seen him. It's scary. He's got that Jack Grealish haircut. It's crazy.
He does. He does have that Jack Grealish. We'll say they look.
Wait till he straps on the headband, and then it's game over.
They looked a little suspect, at least the finishing wise, against Chelsea, man. Erling Haaland showing he's human.
Did you know that he's missed more big chances this season than Darwin Núñez?
Really?
Yeah, 38-35. And that was before their game against Luton. I haven't actually added those stats in there, but
he didn't play, so there you go.
Well, even better. My stats are correct.
But man, it's their defense just is not. I mean, Kyle Walker just loves getting the ball cut in on him, huh? Isaac does it, Gordon does it, Sterling does it. They're just, oh, here, let me just cut back on Kyle Walker and put a curler in.
You remember that famous night? I think it was 1989 final game versus Liverpool versus Arsenal when Arsenal scores the final goal
Yeah.
to win the title.
Yeah.
Remember that celebration? You see when Kyle Walker did that last week for giving up a foul?
Wait. He was rolling. He looked like he got shot.
Somehow his feet end up way above his head. I'm like, what is going on right now? I don't get it. It's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, it's just maybe the center backs, all the center backs in defense aren't quite the right move.
I mean, that's what happens when you play 3 to 4 center backs a game. So,
and one of them moves into midfield.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I will say Jeremy Doku's looking more and more dangerous with every game. Jack Grealish can't even buy minutes right now. And Bernardo Silva and Rodri are literally the epitome of consistency.
Dude, Rodri is so good.
Bernardo Silva too, man. It's like, no matter what happens, the man still shows up and is amazing every single game.
Has he ever had a bad game, Bernardo Silva?
I mean, does Rodri ever had a bad game?
No. Not very often.
Not that I can recall.
When they get sent off, maybe that's the only time I can think of for Rodri. He got sent off here this season and missed a couple games, but yeah, that's about it.
Oh my goodness!
But do you have anything
I got a question. I do.
Okay.
One final question: what will the magic points tally be at the end of the season that will win it?
Oh, the magic points tally.
And may I remind you, when Liverpool had 97 points, City had 98. So there is 39 points left to get. Liverpool, it's 36.
For Liverpool, I think Liverpool could get a good 30 points.
Okay. So you're saying
I think 90? I think 90 points would do it.
Yeah. 90 points wins it. Well, let us know what you guys think. What is going to be the winning tally this season? Because we obviously don't know because we're speculating at this point. Could be anything between 80 points and 100. Well, maybe 100's out of the question at this point. Yeah, it's out of the question. So let us know on our social medias, our Instagram, Brews FC, our TikTok, Brews Banter FC, our Facebook page, our Facebook group. Make sure you join that if you can. Check out our YouTube page. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, hit that notification bell so you can get all of our latest videos. Make sure to check out our Redbubble. Get our merch. It's pretty awesome. We got a bunch of it. Anything you want, including one of these bad boys.
That's right. Get one of these mugs.
Get one of these mugs so that way you can do this. Till next time, my friends.
Cheers.
Cheers.